All right, guys, a little update on the Mustang. We showed you we got down to bare metal. We got the whole thing DA'd. Looks pretty good. We had to melt some of the factory lead out of the front seams here so we can body work those after the self-etch prime. So Graydon's getting ready to get this thing in the self-etch primer. And yeah, that'll be the first stage to getting the paint and body work going.
The reason why, if you guys don't know, why we melt out the lead is because if in these paint jobs, if you leave the lead in, eventually that lead will eat your body work and your paint up, and you'll be able to see the seams. So that's why we melt it out. I don't know if Ryan's explained that before.
Nope, I have not.
That's why we do that, because it's better just.
Yeah, you like see these almost like fisheye looking dots across the seam and everything. So
that's why we do that, even though that's how it was factory. They all showed up again. So
yep, he's gonna get this thing in self-etch, and then we'll show you about what it looks like when he's done. What is up? Good morning. On here on the Mustang, we got this thing in self-etch, which you probably just saw in the previous clip. And it's the next day, and it is all cured out. This stuff flashes off really quick, but we are now ready for body work. I know we had showed this stuff on this side in a previous video. So now that we got that, all the welds cleaned out and wire wheeled, there's no more surface rust and no more filler, obviously, because we took it all down to bare steel. So normally with a car like this, when we'd see something like this with a restoration, we would literally get new quarter panels with a sail panel and just completely start over. But this person's budget doesn't allow that, so we do our best to work around that. And we're going to do this the best way possible without completely replacing everything. So normally the factory would have leaded where the seam was at, and obviously we explained what lead does. So what we're going to do is the best substitute for what lead does is, in our opinion, everyone has their own way of doing things, but is Duraglass, which is this right here. Are you fucking kidding me? And that is Duraglass. So what we'll do is we got some 80 grit on a hard block, a couple different hard blocks here because we don't want a soft block, because soft blocks take to contours, and this is something you want straight. So we need to hard block it, because when you feel this panel dives in, starts diving in somewhere right in here. So just for a good rough in, like when we're done slick sanding this, it might take care of the stuff above our rough in with how thick that stuff is. But if it doesn't, this will be a good rough in. We'll probably start up in this area and skim all the way down to this rate, down to basically this body line of the quarter. And then after it's slick sanded, when we block it, if it needs it, we may even have to glaze and skim all the way down to straighten it out. So yeah, don't listen to guys when they're like, oh, there's no body work in my car, because unless they're paying multi six figures for a metal finished car, it's got filler in it. I mean, it's just part of it. We're not globbing holes shut with Bondo. We're doing it the proper way. The least amount possible. You skim coat it and block it all the way till it fills just what you need. So we're going to get started by roughing up the self-etch surface, and we're going to start on just this flat section. So this, you can see you got two different body lines here. So we're going to tape off right at this body line and just focus on this. And then when all of my Duraglass starts to cure and it's still just a little bit soft, we'll pull that tape and you'll retain that perfect body line. And then once it's hardened up, you can retape it so you don't sand over into that area. And then when we get all this area done, we can move on to this, tape this line back off, tape this line back off, and focus on just this section. And then obviously do the same thing with this. And the best way to highlight your body lines, if you've never done this, here's a good little trick. Take a hard block with your 80 grit or whatever you got on there, and go at the peak of your body line and just drag that right across the top of the body line. Bam. So now we know exactly where the peak of our body line is, and we can run some tape. Also, something else I forgot to mention, which you guys probably noticed, got a couple little holes here. So I'm gonna knock the self-etch off those, weld these shut, smooth them out, and we got one more on this side as well. So we'll go ahead and first things first, get the welder fired up, get that cleaned up, get these welded shut, smooth them out, and then start this process, which I just went over.
All right, on today's episode, folks.
Okay, we got these little holes patched up right here and semi-smoothed out. We didn't want to get crazy because that drip rail's so thin, it wants to blow right through. So I've got my body lines taped off where I want to fix the area that's bad. As you can tell, I've went ahead and roughed all this up and got it ready to spread the Duraglass. All right, in the time lapse, you guys saw us mixing and spreading some of the Duraglass, and I got it all roughed in, and then used some of this stuff here, which is a little bit lighter duty than what do you call it? Duraglass. It's like the Pro Grip from Napa. Pretty good stuff. So went over that, got it all roughed in, so pretty doggone straight. Got a couple little like divot guys, right there from the plastic, but we're going to be slick sanding over all this stuff. So this gives us a good rough base, and then once we get it in primer, then we take it further. Some people are different. Some people can get it super dialed in this stage, and I myself need primer. I can see it better. Guide coating with all these different colors only goes so much for me. But as you can see, got this portion taped off. So we're going to go ahead and get this seam fixed and that seam fixed, and then move on to this little side here and that little side there. And then that'll keep our body lines up here and body line down there, and be ready for primer after that. And I do believe he's gotten this side pretty much roughed in as well. So this quarter repair is all fixed, and he's on to re-sculpting his portion here and this seam right here. All right, got this side all sculpted and roughed in. So as you can tell, this is kind of like a contour. It's kind of concave right here. So I carried that in, then it kind of feathers out down here. So the body lines kind of come down, then it feathers out into this rounded area here. So we got this thing nice and roughed in. It's pretty straight. Pretty stoked on it. So he got his side all done. Still got to sand this, but that's all squared away there. And we got crap spread in for the eight pillars. I almost ran my hand clean through it.
Yeah, that'd have been great.
And then got his side over there sanding. So, all right, what's up? Another update on the Mustang. As you saw, I think in the last clip, we had gotten all the rough-in body work done, which is where we are at. This sail panel's all finished up. I think I left off showing you the A-pillars. They're all finished up. We got the drip rails all seam sealed, as you can see it down in there. This rear section's done. This sail panel's done. That's seam sealed as well. And that A-pillar is done as well. So now we are ready to slick sand the entire body. So he's over there mixing up some slick sand now. And we got the Corvette top done up in 180 grit. So, which I will do more on that for the Corvette video portion. So, as of right now, we'll go ahead and get the Mustang sprayed and continue to make progress on this. All right, good morning, guys. I meant to get a video out last night, but I forgot to film these last couple outro clips before we left. So, left off telling you guys we're getting the Mustang in the slick sand. So, here it is all in primer. So, this really is going to help us see, after we guide coat it, is going to help us see where all the rough areas are. Since the car is just nice and roughed in now we can really go through and start the legitimate body work. So, but everything looks halfway decent. The roof is pretty rough on this thing. I don't know if you can, yeah, pretty much like that throughout the whole car. But what I'm gonna do is get this thing in some guide coat, and then we will go from there, and that'll probably end it off for this one. All right, go ahead and just dust some of this black paint on to give a guide coat, and that'll pretty much wrap it up for this one. So probably hit you with a little time lapse getting these guide coated and show it to you, and that'll end this one off. Okay, got it guide coated as you saw there in the little time lapse. So there we go. And what this does for you body guys that know about it, you already know. And for you guys that don't know much about body work, what this does is allows us to block the car, and it allows us to see where our lows are. So if there's a low spot in here, you're still going to see the dark, the black paint. And if it's not low, you're going to see just normal primer sanding. And if you got a high spot, you'll more than likely burn through to bare metal, or just burn through before you hit even a low spot. So that's what that allows us to do. So now this thing's getting caught up with the rest of the panels. So we got a little paint repair job we got to get in here. So this has got to get moved out, and I'll go over the Corvette top in the Corvette video because we got it slick sanded again as well. But yeah, enough talking. That's it for this one. So probably look into seeing a Corvette video update next. So yeah, keep commenting and like the videos and subscribe. We're out.